Hi guys, welcome to another stream today with me, Harry Partridge, in slightly better shape for streaming than I was last night. Very tired last night, very worn out, just not in good shape for streaming, but a little bit refreshed today, not drunk. That's like slang for drunk. My dad always says he's refreshed when he really means he's drunk, but in a bit better shape for streaming, so gonna try and finish a shot today to send to some assistant animators to have them finish it up. So we're not finishing the shot, but we're basically getting it in like shape for them to finish. So I'm going to do some key important drawings, or drawings that are going to be too difficult maybe to explain exactly what I want. We're nearly done on it actually, because I've been working pretty hard on this. This has basically taken all day, this shot, and they're waiting on new shots from me, so I should have been done by now, but no, this has taken all day, and I'm nearly at the point where I can send it, so I figured I could finish up on stream. So there's one tricky bit though, guys, and that is having there's a moment where I want to actually reuse a lot of drawings and not have too much original animation. There's this bit where he's holding up his fingers like this. He's kind of doing, well, he's doing this. He's pointing up. He's actually counting. He's like counting off the top of his head, and he's gonna go 1, 2, 3, and like go 1, 2, 3. But basically every time he kind of pops up a different finger and goes 1, and then goes 2, and then goes 3, I figure that we can actually have him kind of bounce a little bit, and I didn't want the animators to have to color each set of frames, because they're basically going to be identical other than the position his eyes are in and how many fingers he's holding up. So I'm actually going to do that section of the animation for them and finish and color and shade that, and that's what I'm working on. And then the rest of the motion, you can see I've just done very broad frames of him just sort of popping in and out of position. So I've not done every single in between. And yeah, for example, big moments like that will require 2 or 3 in-betweens, they'll have to do that completely on their own and figure out the shading. And then I just thought this area was kind of finicky enough because it would take too much time to explain exactly what I want. I thought, why don't I just do that and send it off to them? So that's what we're working on tonight. Let me see what's going on briefly in the chat. I did tweet out the link. Good. Okay, people have seen that. That's good to see. People making fun of my red cheeks. There is a reason for that. I actually pumped up the saturation in my from my webcam just because I thought it looked more interesting, thought it looked more cartoony, and it does make me look like I'm a little red-cheeked 4-year-old girl, which I'm not, by the way. I got my coffee cup here. I'm not sponsored by Greg's, but I did buy their reusable coffee cup and then realized I didn't actually need one, so I don't take it with me anywhere. It stays inside. But I like drinking out of it because I feel like I'm on the go somewhere. I feel like I've got stuff to do. Alright, so have you showered yet? Asks Ashos. Ashos, still don't know how to say your name. Yeah, I showered today, so I'm fresh, I'm clean, I'm together. Alright, so let me see. So we want to get these 3 frames shaded. And I'm just going to kind of draw separation lanes separation lanes for the shading. I mean, a lane and a line are kind of similar things. And I don't have to be super great with it. It doesn't have to be amazing, because this cartoon is late. It is due ASAP, and we can afford to be a little bit imperfect with it, because when deadlines are approaching, you can start to cut a few corners, perhaps. I don't like cutting corners, but sometimes you have to do that. Although I feel if I cut any more corners on this project, it'll turn into a circle. So this is a problem, actually. I want shading to come... screw it. I was going to say shading from the hat, but because the eyebrows are kind of popping over the brim of the hat, if we just have this part of the face shaded, it'll look weird. Or if we shade it like that, it kind of looks weird. I don't know. I don't mind it. Yeah, maybe we will just have, even though the eyebrows are technically in front of the hat, I think we can get away with a bit of shading like that. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not for now. So something like that. And then, so all these areas to the left, screen left, yeah, to the left are going to be filled in with shading, and I will shade in these frames before the animators get them, because I'm gonna, like I say, I'm gonna reuse them, cut them up, and just make little changes to the eyes and to the position that the fingers are in. So let me just see now, something like that. Okay, and then it's pretty much just okay, so we've got the collar area here, need some shading. I mean, speaking of cutting corners, shading is typically a pretty good thing to cut if you're late or low on time. Didn't know if I was going to say late or low on time there, so I just combined them into one word. If you're late on time, you can cut corners, and shading is one of those things that you might want to lose, but I like shading in cartoons. It's always been something I've appreciated seeing. It takes a lot of extra effort, but there's something about it that, I don't know, I like that extra level to the characters having a bit of detail. Okay, so it's going to be a bit of shading in there, and just a little bit in the glove there, and around the hand here. So I'm gonna try and work today, guys, and not get too into like reading the chat and stuff. But oh hey, wow, Benzai's in the chat. Benzai, guys, if you don't know Benjamin Daniel, aka Benzai, he is a good friend of mine, and he's just been an amazing person in my life the last couple of years. That makes him sound like a self-help guru or something, but he has helped me out a lot. He and I are working on a cool project at the moment, actually. We're working on a comic book. I don't know if I should tell you anything about it, really, but maybe I shouldn't. But yeah, Ben and I are working together on a comic book, and it's going to be cool. And hopefully in the new year, you should be able to get yourself a copy or 4. That would be cool. You look like the ugly stepsister from Shrek, says a Welshman. Well, I mean, when a Welshman calls you ugly, you know you've reached spectacular new heights of ugliness. So, I guess that's on some level a basic achievement. But I'm very well, Benzai, thank you for coming by. How are you feeling? Alright. Okay, so that's good. Alrighty. Noisivus asks, what's your setup like? I'm using a Cintiq 22 HD, and I am using a Toon Boom Harmony here, and a computer from 2010, really old computer, so nothing crazy fancy. I guess the Cintiq, the 22 HD Cintiq, is pretty substantial, so yeah, that's probably the most expensive part of the setup, but very useful if you want to do digital animation. I do highly recommend that you get one. Okay, so we've got, let me see, we've got this middle frame here, which I'm going to copy and paste back. That. This frame here, which I'll copy and paste. And then we can, got one more we need to in between. Bit of a drag, but this is going to help make it easier for the other animators working on the project. Hey, AD, thank you for coming by, and thank you for the super chat. Hey, Harry, I got a split, but here's something for you. Hope you reach a deadline. I won't reach any deadlines ever. It is my condition, but I appreciate your help and support, AD. Thank you very much. But it is terminal. There's no way I'm reaching any deadlines ever. That's why they're dead lines. There's just no hope there on life support. All right, so Mint Fritter suggests I should set up some sort of FAQ for frequently asked questions. I don't mind answering the same ones over and over again. I feel like I'm getting practiced at them by now, so I may be able to actually answer them with some some accuracy and some efficiency. But yeah, it is funny. I feel like you get the same questions over and over again. That's okay though. Right, so we're just gonna really, this is like a micro in-between. This is one of those in-betweens where, damn, actually I forgot. We have this. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna get rid of this line at the back here and just have something like that. Okay. Harry, what drawing tablet do you use? I just said I have a Cintiq 24 HD, Gregor. And can I co-host your stream? No, you can't. I am doing these solo for the time being. I don't like the idea of getting anchored into doing regular co-hosts, because then I can't just end the stream whenever I want and disappear. I'd leave you hanging. So I'm going to try to not be too diligent today about answering chat questions, because then I do get less work done if I'm too diligent about answering questions. So I'm just going to try and keep my head down and keep working and get this shot ready for the other animators to take a crack at, which I don't think will take too long, maybe another hour perhaps. Going to write some notes. You'll see some coloring and some shading, and also me trying to figure out how the shot can be finished off by another person, what kind of information I need to give them to let them take a crack at it. But so far, the animators that have worked on this project with me, they've all done really, really well. We actually started working on it back in February, I think. That's when they originally came on, and the same three guys, we've had a long hiatus, but they're back and helping me now, and they've been doing really good work. Really proud of them. In fact, I've probably been holding them back. I probably should be giving them more freedom and more room to kind of do their own thing, but I like giving lots of notes and key drawings so that we kind of keep a consistency to the cartoon. Although I may be squandering their talents a little bit by doing that, so that they don't have a chance to, you know, do the shots the way they want. That's down to me not organizing very well and doing storyboards and animatics like I should be doing. I just kind of jump in and start making shots and doing key drawings and then sending them to be in between. So that's down to me. Hey Peterson Cartoon Animations, thank you for coming by. What's up? Not much, just trying to finish this damn cartoon ASAP, because I have other projects I got to move on to. Just going to turn my fan on. And, oh, there we go. I'm sorry about the background noise. Alright. That's good stuff. Dylan Wilson says, came here for the animation, stayed for the roast. Who's getting roasted? You mean me or someone else? I'm not. I wasn't aware of any roasts. What software is this? This is Animation. No, it's not. I just made up a name. It's Animation Pro 2015 XD Alpha EX Plus Turbo. This is Toon Boom Harmony, the 2019 edition. This is a new edition anyway. I mean, yeah, Toon Boom Harmony. Sardonic Samurai got you there with the answer. I don't know why I think I nearly called it Adobe Animate, which it is not, but I also use that software as well. Alright, so let's just slap in those shadows there. How much is it per month? It's a good question. I think it's under £20 a month, the version I get, although I get the essentials. I get the kind of the bare minimum version, which they call Toon Boom Harmony Essentials. I think it's around £18 to £20 a month, which is, I don't know, in dollars, like $25 maybe. Not outrageous. I don't think it's a problem at all. I think it's very reasonable compared to some software. So yeah, and it's great too. I mean, I get a lot of use out of it for sure. Even for non-animating things, just still drawings and still artwork can, I think you can use it for, because the just the quality of the drawing tool, this brush specifically, I think is so good. It's so much better than a lot of other vector drawing applications that I still get a lot of use out of it. Alright, I'm gonna have some coffee before it goes any colder. Gosh darn it. I like that you get to have some transparency and no correction in your lines. I mean, in terms of accuracy to actually what you draw, you do seem to get a very accurate version of the lines you put down, which I appreciate from Harmony. That's really the reason I like it, is because the lines are just so good. All right. Let's keep taking a crack at this bad boy. So he's got no pupils in this frame because I'm actually going to dart the pupils around while he's talking and try and get some extra use out of these frames. Let me see. No, okay, we need that one. So we're basically ready to export it now back into Flash. Flash is it's the program I color everything in, and even though Toon Boom Harmony has great coloring tools, I just prefer it in Flash because that's what I grew up using. Not even called Flash anymore, it's Adobe Animate, but used to be known as Flash. Adobe, the company, were bought by Macromedia, who used to make Flash. Macromedia Flash is what it was originally called. They were bought out by Adobe, and now it is Adobe Animate, but I still call it Flash. I can't help it. It is in spirit the same piece of software. It's just been updated a lot over the years, as software tends to be. Hey, Dr. Trouts, how have I been? I'm good. I am very good. One strange guy says that's not coffee. I assure you, my friend, it is coffee. I don't know how I can prove that to you. Don't want to open it because it'll go everywhere. It's coffee for sure. For sure coffee. Can you even see that? Probably not. But it's pretty good. Alright. Oh, there we go, getting it back on. It's a really stiff lid for some reason. Okay. Alright, so that's all good to go, and let's export these frames out. And open them up in the software I'll be using to actually send the files to the animator. They're going to be FLA files, which is what Flash opens and edits. So I will have to... I don't actually know if all the animators use Toon Boom, so yeah, at some point we have to switch to Flash anyway. Import the frames. So there, yeah, done a lot of drawings today. These are all the drawings for this shot that I'm going to be providing the animators with. And then got a couple more that I want to give them. Because I originally had this movement. Let me show you actually. Yeah, I had this sequence where he's talking, blah, 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 blah. There's some shading. We'll turn the shading layer on. He's talking, blah, blah, blah. And then it just had him go, and then he pulls out these like tools, these devices that he made. They're actually food for a monster. But I decided I wanted more to go in between this position and this position. I wanted him to talk more and say more things. So I had to come up with this sequence in the middle, which is what I'm planning now, which is him gesturing. So I've cleaned these frames up now. That's what I was doing in Toon Boom earlier. He's gesturing, he's talking, he's pointing, and then he goes into the next part of the movement. So we've kind of extended that middle part. It's like Lord of the Rings extended version, but of a shot from my cartoon. So yeah, that's the idea behind it, and that's what I'm working on now. How do you overcome health problems with this lifestyle? Asks Mint Fritter. You do have to try to eat well. I think eat exercise and eat healthy, and not do mounds of cocaine. But yeah, I think I've avoided any major health problems. I haven't been to a doctor's in a while, but I think I'm okay. So okay, shading. I have had a bit of a bad month this month. I've been eating a lot of junk food because I'm stressed about this deadline, and that's my vice, man. I don't drink really. I drink occasionally, but I don't smoke. I don't gamble. I love pizza. I love chocolate. So that's what I've been doing this month. Way too much of that. But I do typically try and go to the gym a couple times a week. I'd like to go daily, but it's more like maybe 4 times a week on a good week. On a bad week, it's like 2 to 3 times. But I think that's very necessary. If you're going to have a lot of time in front of a monitor sat down, you really want to find a way to kind of get some exercise, you know? Okay. Let's put that back in and grab like that. Okay, so these are our key drawings, and what I'm going to work on is that middle section I was talking about earlier when he's counting, and just get these frames all shaded in. So we also have our line separation for the shading back in Toon Boom, so I'm going to export that out and line that up with our animation layers in Flash. And okay. That one strange guy asks, are you going to voice act him? I am going to voice act this character because he is well, I voice act all my male characters. I don't voice act the women typically. Voice acted a few female characters before, but I voice act all the male characters, so this is something I like to do. Alright, let's see now. Let's get the untitled SWF. Oh shit, I left in, damn. Did I leave in the layer below? How did I F that up? Oops. Okay, here we go. Okay. Copy and paste that frame into there. Just going to make sure that the shading layer is going to be actually able to be colored properly, and get rid of that image because that's technically that same. Okay, we can get rid of that one, and then alright, so cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do is break these apart and make sure I can color them in Flash, and then go in and actually color them. And I may need to pump up the brightness on my monitor because my monitor is really dark. I've made it dark. It looks normal for you guys, but for me, I've actually taken the brightness down because I don't like the way it looks on the webcam. It just bathes me in this creepy blue ethereal light, and I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost or something. So, okay. I'll maybe do that when I color it in. So for the time being, now we can actually shade these shading frames, which obviously, because I'm passing this on to other animators, we're not going to be doing too much in the way of shading. That's all going to be done by them because that's what I'm paying them for. But you know, they're going to need a couple of frames just to get them on their way, just so they can see what I was intending in terms of shading, where the light's coming from, etc., etc. So let's just fill all that in as best I can. And while I'm doing that, let me take a look at the chat and see what you guys are talking about. Is Harry wearing the same thing he was wearing yesterday? I'm wearing the same hoodie I was wearing yesterday. I'm not wearing the same t-shirt. There's nothing wrong with wearing the same hoodie a couple of days in a row. It's a hoodie. So, it's not touching skin. I'm wearing a t-shirt. There's no shame there whatsoever. Cyric, no shame there whatsoever. You're not going to embarrass me. You're not going to hoodie shame me. Or, you're not going to washing shame me for not doing enough washing. I think a hoodie... I haven't washed this hoodie in ages. This hoodie is stood up to a lot. Eunice asks, how do you insert in between frames in Flash? Just grab your frames and, you know, cut one out, see in the timeline there, and then then just draw one in the middle. I don't know, I just sort of shift stuff along on the timeline and like that, you know, just drag stuff around, and there you go, it creates in-betweens, and you can just cut out frames. So if you use Flash, I think it should become second nature to you. So I think you can even insert a blank keyframe with F5 or F6. The F keys on your keyboard will have shortcuts assigned to them. I don't know them all by heart, and I don't use them that often, but certainly if you look around for Adobe Animate shortcuts, you should be able to find something for that. Okay. So we've got the shading falling kind of down to the lower left side of the character, because the idea is that there's a light shining sort of slightly from, well, basically to his side. There's a gap at the end of the alleyway, and there's a street light, and the light is pouring in from one side of the alleyway. It's dark on the other side, so there's like a general directionality to the lighting and therefore the shading. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Gotta say, this is a nightmare of a shot just because of how much line work there is. This character is not very fun to animate because of how much stuff he has on him, all the straps and buckles and pockets and things. So big props to the animators who have agreed to work on this with me, the poor guys. That's the reason I'm trying to help them out and actually add a little bit more into this shot and not ask too much of them. Okay. So let me see what's being discussed in the chat. What studio are you working with you at the moment? No studio. I'm working on my own cartoon, and I've hired 3 animators to help me work on it, all doing freelance animation. So no studios going on, unless I am the studio, which is not really true at all. Hello, Davy88 and Sam Gay. Okay. All right, let's get back to it. Oh boy. One frame shaded. That's one down. We're going to erase the eyes actually out of this one because I don't want it to... we're going to change the position of the eyes but reuse the shading frame, so let me just get rid of that. And I'll see what is going on in the chat. Is he dancing? Yeah, it looks like he's dancing, right? But he's not dancing. Have you watched Film Cow's cartoons recently or back in the day? I mean, I watched Charlie the Unicorn back when it was new, but I haven't seen anything from Film Cow for years. I actually didn't know if they were still making stuff. What is the general cost for hiring one assistant animator for a shot? Totally differs day to day, Jacob. It's always different. I mean, different people pay different amounts. Different shots require a different amount of work. I'm not that delicate about it. I just kind of agree to pay animators a certain amount of money for a certain amount of work and trust that they'll work hard for that period. Because I'm lazy and I don't want to put work into pricing each shot differently and yada yada yada. So if you want kind of business advice on hiring animators, don't come to me. I am so not Mr. Business Guy. I'm not organized at all. I just trust that if they're cool with the amount that I'm going to pay them, that they'll work hard for that period. And so far, I've not really been let down. So it's worked out okay on that front. Very, very tedious coloring in, shading frames. Shading frames are just, you know, I like them, but I think someone asked earlier if I'd considered not having them in a cartoon. I mean, I used to never shade. If you look at my old cartoons from 2006, 7, 2008, there's very little shading in those, if any. But I just got into it with Starbarians, and I just like the way it looks. So, I don't know, I feel like it gives a little bit more three-dimensionality to the characters, but they still look kind of flat because they're drawings. It's like a nice middle ground. And rub out the eyes on this one too. And it'll make sense why we're doing that in a minute. And now, so I'm not going to finish the hands on these frames because we're going to actually have the hands change. The hands and the eyes are going to look different. He's going to change position a few times, but we're going to reuse about 90% of the frame. So that's why we're just doing kind of the important parts, and then I'll color them, and then I'll do all the changes, like the changes in expression and how many fingers he's holding up. So, okay. Have a bit more of this increasingly cold coffee. And see what you guys are talking about in the chat. Hey Harry, can you give a shout out to your boy Yogi Bear? He is my boy, and he is smarter than the average bear. He puts average bears to shame. Love that Yogi. Love his consumption of picnic baskets. So there we go. Did you shade the hat in the last frame? Did I? I certainly did. I certainly did, making me second guess myself now, making me second guess my elite hat shading abilities. But oh, hang on, that's not what we want. Let's have that go underneath there. Okay. All right, so that's coming together now. Just talking and working away. Hope you guys aren't too bored. I imagine you are. Watching animation is very boring. But I don't know. I wanted to live stream again. And what else can I live stream other than animation? I'd love to play video games, but I'm too busy. If I did, I think I'd want to stream PS1 games. Maybe one day I'll look into getting that set up, but that's not something I'm going to pursue with too much vigor because it's just not, I don't know, it's not that important to me to be able to do that. But I think I'd like to at some point, and you can see how friggin' terrible I am at video games. Not an especially good gamer. Oh boy. Harry, how's your animation going? Asks Angry Duck. Not great. Very behind, and I've got a lot to do, so there we go. I mean, other than that, I mean, I'm liking where it's going, but is this okay? Okay, so one more frame to shade, and then we can color it, and then we can get into actually doing some animation and changing things and getting it to look a little bit more interesting, hopefully. Okay. Boy, with the okay, just talking to myself out loud. Alright, so the shading, we can just turn that off now and forget about it. And let's color these frames in. So if I go to this file here where we actually have some colored frames, I can use this as basically a palette that I can just swatch from and get these frames all colored in. Put his twin there for a moment. I'm actually going to try and color each area simultaneously. So we're going to start off with just doing the hats. Get those filled in. There we go, that's nice. I totally forget if the band on his hat is the same color that I've used somewhere else. Is it the same as that? No, it's not. I think it's a unique color, so I can't unfortunately reuse the band of the hat. But there is a lot of reused colors on the character, even though he's not a very colorful character. He's basically just gray and blue, but okay. So now the dark circles around the eyes, based on me, as you can tell. We'll put those in now, so. Make sure that those are delineated and kind of animate that color separation there a little bit. What are you guys talking about? Stealing colors from yourself now. I am. I'm the ink master. I'm the color thief. Is the ink master about a guy that steals? It was a kid's show on TV when I was a kid. I think it was about a guy that steals words from books and sort of, I don't know. There's a fantasy thing. All I remember is he steals words from books, but does he do anything with the words? Does he turn them into real things? Does he take the word dragon and turn it into a real dragon? Or does he just steal the word dragon and then you've got a book? The Hobbit says, you know, Frodo or Bilbo meets up, and you're left wondering, you go, what does that mean? What was Tolkien going for there? Okay, make sure that these two frames kind of line up nicely. That looks good. Alright, we can color in the dark circles now around his eyes. Get those all filled in. And then I'll just go ahead and actually color in the black parts of his eyes, which are his eyebrows and his pupils. Get those filled in. I'm gonna actually make my background color something obnoxious now so I can see the areas that I've left out, because sometimes if I don't do this I can kind of leave the pupils. For example, if there's a white background, I forget I haven't colored in the white pupils or the white areas of the eyes. So let's do that now before I forget. That's grey, Harry. It's the wrong color. There we go. Oops. Okay. Color in the brown hair. Make that all look. His hair is like sticking out at a weird angle here, but it just didn't. If I put it in front of the eyes here, I felt like it kind of broke up the eyes too much, and I didn't want it sticking directly out. Sticking directly out actually would have been okay. So weirdly, it just sort of swings and hangs out behind the eyebrow there, which doesn't make any sense considering the fact that it spends most of the time in the middle of his head. But whatever. My hair's sticking out weirdly today. My hair's been wretched on these streams lately. I need to get it cut. Doing that this week. Probably get a haircut tomorrow or the day after. Alright. Be sure to save your files. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that right now. Let's save it as Dogtooth. Oh gosh, see my stupid. This keyboard's wireless and it's very sensitive. Dogtooth makes a list, which is what he's doing. He's listing things off 1, 2, 3, like that. Oh my gosh, a very generous donation from the Taco Tube, who I've actually met in real life. He's a very cool guy. Well, thank you very much, man. Harry, when are you moving to America so we can go to toy shows together? I'm actually coming to America in a couple of days, but not anywhere near you, I'm afraid. I don't think, anyway. I forget. We met in Pennsylvania, in Philly, but I can't remember if that's actually where you live. So yeah, not sure about that. But yeah, I will move to the States one day because my other half, Joyce, is American and she wants to be closer to home. I don't blame her. She's lived in England now for 8 years. 8 stinking years, longer than that. And I think the honeymoon period is over as far as England is concerned. I think she would like to maybe take a break and live, in the land of 7-Elevens and tasty cakes again. I'm sure there's more to America than that, but certainly those are things that she would like to get closer to. I don't blame her at all. I love tasty cakes. And what's the other one? It's like a name. There's tasty cakes, and then there's Madam Cake Muffin or something. There's a lady's name. I'm sure you guys would know it. Like kind of the rival to tasty cakes. Okay. What's your opinion about YouTube animations? Asks Storkymations. I mean, that's a really broad subject. That's like saying, what do you think about movies? There are good ones and there are bad ones, and there are great ones and amazing ones, and there are terrible ones, and there's 99.9% of them I've never seen, so I can't really have an opinion on it either way. Little Debbie, there we go. I knew it was a lady's name, so I thought it was like Mrs. something, like Mrs. Kipling's or whatever, but there we go. Little Debbie's. The boxes of donuts, the powdered white donuts, so good you could go nuts. Love those guys. And the little chocolate covered ones, they're amazing too. As you can tell, I'm a guy whose vice is definitely food. Love me some sugar. Gosh darn it. Okay. Put in the shirt. As you can tell with this character, there's just a ton of colors going on, and it's a nightmare. Nope. Okay, and I think his strap is the same color. Yeah, it is good. So we can have the strap across his chest there. And on the thigh. Actually, is it the same color as... Okay, good. It's on the elbow pads too. I'm totally forgetting the character's color palette. And what's what is colored what. Let me see. What is happening in Chattown, USA? Population, you guys. The cartoon could do with a nice influx of bees, says Sebastian Scogland. Definitely, the bees would help big time. How do you go about earning money from freelancing? You'd have to ask a freelancer. I'm not really freelancing anymore because I have a Patreon, which is helping me tremendously, and it's meaning I can do this kind of stuff. But I mean, I did get a good. Should I say? So I'm working on a comic book at the moment, and that's been very, very good for me financially. So that's helped me make my bills. But yeah, the Patreon's been really, really nice. It's meant that I've been able to work on this cartoon this year and the Kilgar's Code episode. So I'm not really freelancing or doing commissions anymore, which I'm glad about, because there's no shame in doing them, but I would rather work on my own stuff for sure. Okay, so the vest is dark grey. And the arms are dark grey. There's 4 or 5 shades of grey, more than that, maybe like 7 shades of grey. and they get confusing. But there's one. This one has a lot of areas that I use to color with. So there's the holsters over the shoulders, and then the vest, and then the arms, and yeah, that's it. Okay. Did Chris help you with the comic stuff? You mean Chris of Comic Tropes? No, although I have talked to him and we may collab on a comic or a comic type project in the future. I assume you mean Chris Piers of Comic Tropes, who's kind of a friend of the channel, and not Chris O'Neill or Chris Chandler. Not any of those Chris's. Yeah, okay, cool. So we can just go ahead and dob in those grays. He's just completely wrapped in gray. Just put the brown in there. Okay. We're nearly done now with the coloring. The other shades of gray, there's a dark, whoop, zooming in forever and ever. I just realized the lighting from the green makes me look like the Incredible Hulk. Let's go for a subtler tone. Let's go for like an orange. There we go. Are you receiving pledges for your live stream uploads? Assume it's not just your animation uploads. Well, I mean, I'm receiving through Patreon pledges for numerous reasons. There is extra content that people do get on Patreon, although not very much. I wouldn't exactly say that it's necessarily the best deal in the world, but I'm very, very thankful that people have supported me on there, and it's, you know, they're supporting me for whatever reason they want to support me for. If they want to see more content happen, or if they just want to, you know, they just want to help out. Realize I've colored the inside of the jacket. Damn. I gotta look at something, because the inside of the jacket is a darker gray, and I'm wondering if I've shaded on top of that. Let's take a look. Okay, so yeah, it's shading on top of that. Whatever, let's just keep it. We can keep it a flat grey. I don't think it needs extra shading inside the jacket because it's already shaded there, so that looks fine. All right. Yikes. I look like Christmas Harry with the green light and the red cheeks. Yeah, I do get red cheeks a little bit from just, I don't know, the heat. It gets hot in my office, but the saturation is boosted up really high on the comic. Excuse me, I'm reading other chat comments. On the camera, yeah. So let's slap a bit more grey in there. This guy's lousy with grey. Okay. Put that in there. All right. So more colors, more gray. We've got to pop in there now. Yeah. This guy has a lot of colors on him. He's not a very animation friendly design. One day I'd like to do something that's got a much more animation friendly aesthetic to it, which would be great for actually being able to pump out content quicker and make animation quicker and not have to, you know, take 3 years to do a 3-minute cartoon. But for the time being, I'm stuck with very detailed characters, and I like the way that detail looks in motion. I really do. It's just always a complete bitch to actually have to produce. Actually going to leave the other hand because that's the one that's going to receive all the changes to it. Color in the cuff maybe of the glove. Hopefully what I'm doing will all make sense in a little while when we actually try to take this sequence and get some use out of it, get some recycling out of the whole thing. Okay. Don't know why I didn't close those lines off there. It's just gonna have to do. And now we've got to do, oh, I'm forgetting the damn belt. Oh, it's just so many little areas. Okay, and we've got the club or the truncheon that he's got. That needs to be colored in too. And then the wrap around the truncheon, and then the jeans, and then the belt buckle. Actually, is the belt buckle the same color as the jacket? I think it is. Just so much coloring. And then we're going to go in with the wrap color. And the blue jeans. And I'll see what you guys are saying in the chat, if there's anything I can use to stimulate me. How long are you planning on streaming today, pal? I don't know. Maybe another hour, I would think. We've been an hour already. So yeah, I would think we may go 2 hours today. Long estimate. Maybe short estimate, another half an hour. Hey, Dak Geek Boy. Thank you for coming by. We're good today, thank you. I'm good. Hope you're good too. Thank you for dropping by my boring stream. Would you ever want to use a CalArt style intentionally or as parody? For parody, for sure. I did actually write a parody cartoon that was going to be done in that style, but never got around to it. It was going to be done for April Fools, but have a very tight window, of course, when it's April Fools. As with any holiday, you don't want to release. I mean, you can release a Christmas cartoon basically from like mid-December to end of December, and I think you're going to be okay. April Fools, you can really only drop on that one day, so if you don't finish it in time, you're screwed. I didn't start it, I wrote it, and then I didn't go any further than that. But maybe 1 year. Although I don't want to. I want to make more than April Fool's cartoons. I worry about doing that too much. Especially if the joke is, haha, you thought it was going to be something good and it turned out to just be a stupid little April Fool's Day cartoon. I feel like that's kind of a letdown. You don't want to run that joke into the ground. So is the belt buckle the same color as the jacket? Yeah, it is. Okay. Cool. All right. So that little section is colored in. So I can get to work now on this. So he goes, let me see. Let me see now. Can copy a few of the frames that are going to be reused. So let's just pad that out. So he goes, he's like, 1, I've got the something. 2, so 1, blah, 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 blah. 2, blah, 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 blah. So there's a flicker going on here. Okay, we need to shade the inside of the collar there. Okay. So he's like 1, blah, 2, blah, blah. So what we're going to do is we're going to find on this frame here, going gonna actually change some of these frames so that he's holding up 2 fingers. So that's why I wanted to basically color and shade most of the frames, because I can reuse 90% of it. It's just that there are little areas we want to correct. So we'll go in now and make sure that he's holding up 2 fingers, and then we'll do the same again for the 3 fingers. Can we draw the finger a bit better than that? Oops. Top of that finger is a bit square. The drawing tools in Adobe Animate are so much cruder than they are in Harmony. I really like them in Harmony, and it's just such a pain to draw anything in Flash. I used to do it. I mean, that's how I used to make all my old cartoons, but it's painstaking. Okay. Alright, whatever. It's not a great looking finger. It's very messy. Let's just grab the smooth tool and try and fix it that way. Bit of OCD kicking in here. Oh, come on. Alright, good enough. Okay, so that's the second finger being held up there. So, so now we're going to have his fingers on this hand kind of animating alongside it, so let's have one. Something like that. Clean that up a bit. Unnecessary, but okay, and now we can actually go ahead and in between to oh man, where's the onion skin? It's hidden underneath the stage there, so okay. So that's going to be the second finger coming up there, so that he's holding up 2. And it's not mind-blowingly good animation, but it's just about getting it done. So it's going to be something along the lines of da-da, 1, 2. In fact, that finger comes up too quickly. Oh, it snaps up way too fast. So I'm going to actually edit the previous frame and go in and have that finger start to come up already. What's going on in the chat? Why didn't I at everyone on Discord? You missed an hour? Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't done that before with live streams, or maybe I have, but I'm going to try and do this on a more regular basis, so you wouldn't hopefully miss too much in the future if you subscribe and set an alert. So that's probably the best way to do it. But I apologize, Terranium. Please don't flay the flesh from my body for such a transgression. Have you been working on a regular full-time job? What's with all the questions, Mint Fritter? Have I been working? No, I mean, I've been doing a lot of stuff recently. I've been working on a comic book. I've been working on this. I've been working on a live action project, which I've not been able to show anything from. So yeah, I mean, I've been working on stuff, but it all takes a long time to... it's going to take a long time to be visible, unfortunately. Kilgar's Code was a lot of work. I think that people don't tend to understand quite how long animation takes, and I got a lot of questions along the lines of, so what do you do all day? It's like, well, I do this, and it takes me months and months and months and months to make a cartoon. So it's unfortunate, but that is the reality. So I know that when people say, you know, why haven't you put out something? It's not because I don't work. I don't even take weekends off. I work every single day pretty much until I fall asleep. It takes forever. So one, that looks good. I like that. 1, 2, and then we'll do a third finger popping up as well, and we'll just let Flash save. In fact, while it's doing that, I'm gonna go for a very quick break, you guys. I'll be right back. Take care. I'll see you in a minute. Bye bye. Hey, hi everyone. I'm back. Back from my little soiree, my little break. Let me see what's happening in the chat. Okay. All right. So where were we? So I want him to kind of pop into having his eyes in a different position. So he says, 1, I've got the so-and-so. 2, I got the so-and-so. Okay, so we're gonna have the eyes end up somewhere pretty different, pretty radically different. Oh, I just scrubbed out a big line through his face. That's not good. It's not good, you guys. Don't want to scar up my character. Okay, so should he be looking? Is he like, 1, I've got the so-and-so. 2, I've got the so-and-so. Or is it better if the eyes are like looking back that way? 1, I got so-and-so. 2, I got the so-and-so. Maybe that way is better. Or maybe down is better. Actually, you know what? I like them down, but I like them starting down. Damn it. That's not good. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm just gonna have them go down. I was gonna have them start down, but then I'd have to change all the other frames around it, and I'm too lazy for that. So, nope, they're gonna go up and then down. Alright, so. Where were we? Okay, let's have them. Do I like that kind of size? Do I like that kind of size? Let me see on my other monitor. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, whatever, it'll do. It'll do. So he goes, okay, now we can start moving them down, I think, on this frame. Okay, so he's like, shoop. Ooh, there's a flicker there. Got to color those eyes in white. So he goes, that's good. Okay, so now we can go in and actually color in the glove on these. Although maybe we should actually copy and paste first this bit of animation, because we're going to now have it happen another time, a third time, and have his third finger pop up. So what I'm going to do is actually just paste that a third time and then worry about what's going on here. So got to color in that glove now and the fingers that are popping out there. Go careful not to color the black line in the same as the glove. My monitor is set to kind of a low brightness because it's otherwise a bit blinding for me. It looks okay for you on your screen, but it's let me scroll up a bit there because I can see that my webcam is kind of cutting it off a little bit. But for me, the dark grey of the glove and the black line art are almost the same color because the values are both so you know, de-brightened with the screen settings. So got to be careful. Let me know if I screw up and accidentally make the line art grey by clicking in the wrong place. Hey, the Rookie, thank you so much for that super chat, man. Really generous. The Rookie says, looking good. Thank you, Rookie. Appreciate it. Okay. So there we go. Let's fill in these fingers. And that should do... Ooh, okay, so that's the first section now. Just got to worry about the shading, because we don't have the shading on the fingers. In fact, I'm actually going to make the color layer invisible so I can see what I'm doing. So let's get a nice thick brush and shade this bad boy in. And I'll come and take a look at the chat, see what's happening in the chat while I'm working on shading this cheeky little hand in with its cheeky little digits. What's going on? Terranium says, if you have multiple monitors or a Cintiq like you do, it's generally a good idea to have the drawing tablet be rather dim as you're close to it. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that is a consideration for sure too. I don't want to be bombarding my eyes with cosmic rays. I don't want to become, you know, the fifth member of the Fantastic Four through radiation if I can help it. And yeah. Okay. All right, let's stick some shading in there. Shade that boy up a treat. So I've been listening to a Stephen King audiobook all day today. And it's really cool, actually. It's a story I really like, but I've never read the book before, so I thought I should at least listen to the audiobook. It's Thinner by Stephen King, which I like the movie, and I really like the story. I just think it's a cool idea for a story. If you've never read Thinner before, I won't give too much away, but it's about a fat corrupt lawyer who has a gypsy curse put on him that every day he gets a little bit thinner. And of course, to begin with, it's not actually too terrible because he's overweight anyway and he wants to lose weight, but then he can't stop it. And I really like those stories where there's that kind of clear progression of something getting worse and worse and worse. And if it's supernatural, becoming more and more evident every day that the supernatural is occurring and you kind of can't deny it anymore. There's reasonable deniability to begin with, and then as things get worse and worse, the character has to kind of deal with the fact that it's supernatural in origin. But the audiobook that I've been listening is read by a guy who's actually in the movie, Joe Mantegna, I think you say his name, or Mantegna, probably Mantegna. He voices Fat Tony in The Simpsons. My Fat Tony impression sounds like Donald Trump, but he voices Fat Tony in The Simpsons, and it's so weird to hear him read the audiobook, because some of the characters, he's good with all the voices, but some of the characters just sound exactly like Fat Tony. In fact, he voices, of course, the character that he also plays in the movie, and his kind of impression of that character for the audiobook sounds way more like Fat Tony than it does in the movie. So it's like having Fat Tony read you a Simpsons book, read you a Stephen King book. But I do like me some Stephen King. Although I've not seen the new It movies because busy doing stuff, and also they looked good. I mean, I believe people that say that they're good, but I don't love that story. I don't love It particularly. I prefer Salem's Lot, Pet Sematary, some other Stephen King's. Well, Thinner, obviously I'm a big fan of that. Okay, so that hand is shaded in now. Looks pretty good. So it's 1, 2, and now we're going to have him count the third time. So, and then we're going to change his expression too. So that's going to take a little bit more animating. Let me just hit save on that and have a swig of my drink. Did I finish my coffee? I did, right? Yeah. Hey Gregor, thanks for coming back. Hey Lewis. I should watch the new It movies. They're the best horror film. I have a problem. I have a problem with some of the visuals that I've seen. I don't like the Pennywise design, and I'll tell you why. I think the whole thing with Pennywise is that he's scary because it's a creepy, evil force that decided it would look like a clown. It decided it would take the appearance of something that children are naturally kind of drawn to on some level. And the idea that he would look like a scary clown to me is like they didn't really get it. They didn't really understand that. It's not that he's a scary clown, it's that he's a clown that looks like a normal clown but does fucked up evil things that a clown would never do. That to me is the whole point of him taking the form of a clown. So when you make it a big scary clown, to me it kind of doesn't quite hit the mark. I mean, even though he's a scary character, I think that when he's in his sort of default clown appearance, he should be a little bit more classic looking, probably a bit closer to the Tim Curry version. And then also the overuse of CGI. I can't find CGI scary, and I know that sounds like I sound like grandpa over here just complaining about modern things and going, I don't like CGI. But I do think that with CGI, as impressive and cool as it can be, and I like it for action stuff, you know, I want the Incredible Hulk to be rendered in CGI. I find that when it's something that's really supposed to be disturbing, I need it to be real on some level. So I know that they've done a lot of practical effects in those movies, but there's some obvious CGI too, which for me, it's never quite as scary as seeing something that's kind of there in the flesh, or not in the flesh, in the styrofoam or silicone or whatever they're using to do the practical effect. I just prefer it. When it's real. Oh boy, so just gonna rub out pieces of the hand here and then draw in the third finger. Terranium says CGI isn't effective for horror. It's overused in everything. I love how well they use the CGI. Oh, in it? I mean, I'm sure it's a good use of it in comparison to other things, but I think generally in horror, I think that it would be better to do something that feels more, I don't know, more kind of primal, more real and tactile. I think that's better for scares, for scary bits. I didn't leave enough room for this third finger. It's gonna be a problem for me, but not if I shove them around and cheat. Yeah, that works. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Did a very quiet burp there. Hope the mic didn't pick it up. Probably did. Been jonesing for some soda lately. I can't help it when I'm stressed and I got a lot of work on, and I certainly do at the moment. I do enjoy the embrace of a bit of naughty soda. Harry, do ASMR for us.
Hello, this is ASMR.
Every ASMR video that I listen to, they have the lip clack. You know, the lips are like clacking together and all moist sounding. Which is, I guess it's okay if it happens by accident, but when they're putting it on, it's a bit creepy. Drink more water, Harry. I do drink a lot of water. That's why I'm saying I'm having a bit of guilty soda. I don't just chug it down all day. It's a treat, you know. It's for special occasions. Okay, so let's put something like that in there. Delete this one here. And now we can just go ahead and basically in between the frames, and I think that'll be it. For the fingers, or for the animation, they're a bit off model here. They look a little bit like bananas on that yellow background and the weird pinched tops to them that I've been drawing. Okay. Alright. That is sort of doing the trick there. It's a bit scruffy, but that's good enough. Okay, so we can go ahead now and color those bad boys in, and I'm going to change the expression. I actually want to give him a stranger expression. So he's listing 3 things. The first 2 are kind of normal, and then the third one's weird. So I want to have his eyes kind of almost glaze over, and he's like looking and thinking about whatever the thing is he's talking about. So I'm going to have to find an expression that I like there, and draw it in. Okay. And then we'll shade it after that. So he's saying 1, 2, 3, and then a little more time there. Okay. So with this expression, what do I want? He's going... Okay, so this one is going to be... Going to draw... furrow the brow a little bit. And have the hair kind of hang out there. Okay, I think that's gonna do the trick. So yeah, we're gonna have to redraw a pretty significant part of the frame. Basically, just all of this is gonna have to go. Oops. Yoink. And we'll redraw the hair as well. Okay, so based on that little sketch we just did, gonna lower the brim of the hat so it doesn't look like he has a giant forehead. And let me go in and so yeah, it's gonna have to be kind of a pain to reanimate the head for a couple of frames, but this way we're still saving a lot of work. It's always an annoying kind of thing to have to change frames that have already been colored, but it just frankly would take more time to have to color each area completely from scratch. So we'll save the little bit of work we've already done by coloring most of the head in already. And like that. Looks pretty good. Let's give this. Oh, can we have a thinner brush? Can we not? Okay. And let's go and clean that up a little tiny bit. There we go. Yeah, you're not going to be able to tell that we cannibalized an old frame. We just hide the joins. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Hey Figment, thank you for coming by. Good to see you today. I think people are still debating CGI. I like CGI. I think CGI is awesome for a lot of things. I just think that for horror, living characters in a horror film doesn't float my boat. I think that, you know, you can use CGI amazingly, basically in any type of movie, for removing buildings or, you know, having a car explode. Anything that's not a tactile living person that you can kind of talk to can, I think, be done really well in CGI. A shot of a plane or an aerial on a building that you want to erase or whatever. There's tons of applications for it. But when it's an actual living, breathing character, if you can do it with a real person, if it's Gollum or the Incredible Hulk, you kind of can't really do it any other way. But something like a 6 foot tall humanoid character, like you'd see in a Star Wars movie, I'd prefer that they're a real human being. I think Jar Jar Binks, you know, had they just found a way to redesign him a little bit, maybe not made him quite so alien looking, and they did have a real live actor portraying him on set with the other actors, but I don't know. I just feel like I mean that whole character was basically not salvageable, so he's not a good example. But generally speaking, like the orcs in The Hobbit, for example, a lot of those orcs are basically man-shaped, 6 foot tall people that you could do with makeup, because we've seen in Lord of the Rings they used makeup for the orcs and they look cool as hell. So I feel like those characters would have been better serviced by having, you know, classic actors in makeup rather than the way it was done for that movie, which is a lot of full CGI characters. I think that's a good example of the kind of thing I'm talking about. They're not strictly horror characters, but they are horrific, and you're supposed to kind of fear them and be repulsed by them. And I think CGI is just a little bit too detached from reality to really leave me with a strong emotional response to it. So okay, so I kind of prefer, maybe the eyebrow could come up. Let's just do something there. Hey, Nick Near, thank you very much for the super chat. That's extremely appreciated. Nick Near says, I love your work for ages. Thanks for the inspiration. Don't mention it, Nick, and I appreciate your super chat. Thanks for that inspiration. I want to do something here to I don't know. Yeah, maybe just one eyebrow. Bringing up eyebrows like that is very Family Guy. If you kind of ever think about it, you don't really have a bottom eyelid that you can, you know, move up and down like that. But sometimes it just sort of visually works, and I kind of like the way it looks, and it's good. I don't know. Don't know if I like that though. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Family Guy eyelids, which are, like I say, they don't really occur in nature, but sometimes they kind of get the point across in a way that's a little more useful than something that's physically possible might. Alright, that's gonna increase the thickness of that line thickness just a tiny bit. 0.5 ought to do it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we're getting very OCD here. All right, clonk the microphone there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we've got to have the got to animate the rest of the face kind of conforming into this shape here. So that's going to be so for this frame I'm going to erase the eyebrows there and start bringing them down a lot quicker. And I'm going to have to change the position of the eyes because they're looking up still, so this position, the down position, is going to have to be like an overshot version of this. Oh boy, so okay. Get rid of all that junk inside that trunk. Now just cut that off there. Oh boy. All right, let me see what's going on in the chat. Sorry, I got a little lost there in what I was trying to do. Yeah, the music is by Okoroid, who you can check out. He has his own YouTube channel. He's a musician and animator, and he's done a fantastic job. The music is custom made for the live stream, but I think he is going to release it some way for you guys to listen to. Yeah, he's done a great job on that. So yeah, really good stuff. Hey, thank you, Maid, for turning in. Hey, Comic Tropes. Good to see you. Chris is Comic Tropes. He runs the Comic Tropes YouTube channel. It's a great YouTube channel if you're into comics, comic art, comic history, not just comic art, comic writing too, comics of all kind of things to do with comics. Chris is a very cool guy as well, very lovely guy. So, check out Comic Tropes if you're into comics or cool guys, or both. Davy88 says, Harry, if you ever want me on the stream again, just let me know. Davy, I am trying to do it solo at the moment. It's nothing personal. I have already turned down some people that have asked to do co-hosts recently, so if you can forgive me, I'm going to try and run it solo for just a little while before I look for a co-pilot. Comic Tropes, thank you very, very, very much for the super chat. What was your best fight? Comic Tropes asks. I think this is an old meme because I mentioned in a stream before that I've had a bunch of fights when I was at school. I used to get into fights, not all the time, but probably more than other kids, because I didn't like... You know what it was? You know what it was, man? Certainly, I don't have a best fight. No fights are good. You shouldn't get into fights if you can possibly avoid it. And also, the older you get, the more serious it becomes. Because, you know, a 13-year-old fighting is kind of usually not a huge deal. A 30-year-old guy getting into a fist fight can end up in jail or death or something. But I think the thing was, I was an easy target because I was sort of chubby, and I wore glasses, and I drew, and I was in all the school plays, and I liked comic books, and I still collected action figures. I was definitely an easy target for, you know, potential bullies. But the other side of the coin was that I had a bit of a sharp wit. What I would consider a sharp wit. It was probably not a sharp wit at all, but as a 13-year-old, I thought it was sharp. And I didn't like people making fun of me, and it was too tempting to make fun of them back. You could, you know, some dumb... they weren't jockey type kids. They were more just kind of scumbag type kids. If they made fun of you, you could just, you know, you could be so much more cutting. You could really hurt them, and just tell them that they're a piece of shit and they're never going to go anywhere. And it was always too tempting to do that, so I always ended up in a fight. Yeah, so I ended up in a couple of fights, but it was, you know, they're asking for it sometimes. I was not the instigator, I will say that. I'm generally very pacifistic, even as a kid. I was not the instigator. All right, so yeah, the eyes are gonna be doing something here. I think that's what they're going to have to be doing here with the middle position. Let me see what's being said in the chat. Go gadget eyes. Yeah, the eyes are messed up here. I was scrawny as hell in school, says Figment, and yet I still won a ton of fights. Black belt in Taekwondo. Very cool. Very cool. I mean, I did Taekwondo too when I was at school. I was 13. I got like my third or fourth belt. I only did it for a period of time, but I should have stuck with it. I wished I did, but it did come in handy actually. I did get to. I didn't Taekwondo someone's ass, but I did. A kid did start a fight with me, and he swung first. And all we had been doing, it was like Daniel's son in the Karate Kid. All we'd been doing in our practice is this kind of thing. Just this all the time, and I kind of thought it was useless, but then I realized when someone starts coming in for punches, they're coming in from the left and right, and if you just do this and this, it's like really easy to get them out of the way. Basically, you just windmill away from your face. So it came in really handy. He didn't end up getting one good hit in, and it left me with a big swollen egg on my forehead. But for the most part, I protected myself quite well. Taekwondo, basically Bruce Lee over here, with the ability to windmill my arms like a floundering fish. Floundering fish, also known as a flounder. The flounder is the classic floundering fish. What am I talking about? All right. Let's color this stupid thing in. It's looking so messy over here. That's not what I wanted. We should probably have the eyes halfway through a blank. And let's see what's happening in all Chat City today. Harry, would you still want to be an animator in the pre-computer days? No, no way. That's way too much work. It's still too much work in the post-computer days, so I think that would push me over the edge. Harry, if you had to marry a Disney princess, which one would you choose? Probably one of those really racist ones from the 30s, from the short, like a Zulu princess. No, I don't know. A Disney princess. Honestly, who's the hottest? It ain't Cinderella. She's very plain. It's the hair. The hair is very 1950s. It would probably just be one of those dancing skeletons from the old rubber hose days. I think that qualifies. You know, if you put a tiara on one, I don't think anyone would question it. Thanks for the strange question, though, Chris. I appreciate it. Not Nala from Lion King. I mean, there's that one shot where in the "Can you feel the love tonight?" where they draw Nala looking really turned on, and it's a bit. God, that must have created some furries. That shot, you know, the bit I mean, where they draw her almost biting her bottom lip, like she's about to screw Simba. I mean, it's very well animated. It's a nice drawing, but I always thought that moment was a bit yikes. A little bit yikes. He looks really bummed out here. Why didn't Nala look like that when she was about to lay Simba? Okay. Okay, this is looking strange. Alright. Let's take this frame and move it over here and just worry about this guy here. So let's just do a straight in between here, and should get us to basically be near where we want to be. No furry jokes, guys, please. My heart can't take it. The amount of trouble I've caused for myself through the creation of Hogstrong, a pink-haired, usually naked, purple pig man. The ire, the furry ire. Well, not ire from furries, but the, yeah. Very Nike swish looking eyebrows over here. Basically, those eyes are good. Okay. Yeah, it does look like the Nike logo. You're right. Nothing I can do about that. It's too late now. It's part of his design. I'm gonna get sued. For sure. Okay, and one more in between, and we'll basically have it. and we could just color and shade it, and we can all go home. And then we may be coming up to the end of the stream, because it's, what, 2 hours nearly streaming? Yeah, an hour and 41 minutes, which I would say is too damn long. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I did do music for my cartoons for years. I basically did all the music up until, well, no, even after this point, but Starbarians, the music for that is done by a composer called Brian Sadler. He does that without really any input from me, other than I say, make it, you know, cool and actiony here, make it sad and emotional here. But yeah, like all the Skyrim cartoons, those backing tracks were done by me, and you know, other things. I'm trying to think of examples, like the Dr. B's music is by me, the Stephen the Lesbian music is by me, other than a backing track that sounds like a disco that's just a piece of stock music that I took, but when he's like talking to everyone and standing on top of the robot, that music was done by me. So yeah, I go back and forth, but I haven't done any music for a cartoon for a while. It's because I don't make that many cartoons anymore, or I don't release many cartoons. I'm always working on something. But yeah, let me see. The last couple of things have been Dan Bull, you know, cartoons where he's done his own music in the form of a rap, or a Starbarians cartoon which has had music from Brian. So okay, well, we're basically good now to in between this final frame and get it all good to go. And put that other eyebrow in there, like that. Okay. We'll get there eventually. Okay. All right. There we go. There we go. I'm going to come back to the chat because I've been sort of ignoring you guys a little bit. Trying to get this stupid alteration made to this frame. And is that good enough? Yeah, that's good enough. All right. All right. Chat time. What have I been missing? What has been going on while I've been doing my thing? Have I seen any good horror movies lately? Asks Comic Tropes. Have I seen any good horror movies? What have I watched that's horror lately? I don't think I've seen anything horror related for a while. I want to say I have, but it's completely gone out of my brain. I want to watch The Exorcist 3, which I've never seen, but for years now, it's been something I've wanted to get around to watching, so I was planning on watching that soon, you know, but I haven't already watched it. Yeah, not any good horror stuff lately. What about you, Chris? It's certainly that time of year. Alright, let's get this shading done. Or coloring, rather. And let me see what else is going on in the chat. Yeah, Exorcist 3 is rock solid, says Chris. From what I can see, it looks totally amazing. I like those kind of horror movies. I mean, I like silly creature feature horror movies, but I also like, you know, films like The Omen, where it's a little bit more, It's a little bit more downplayed. There's, you know, fewer giant rubber monsters and a little bit more kind of that cerebral, is it really happening? Is it all a dream? The world feels a bit more realistic. I like that kind of stuff too. Actually, yeah, that's it. I was gonna say I've been devouring Stephen King lately, like no one's business. So yeah, a lot of Stephen King stories, not movies. Let me see, what have I got through recently? Thinner. I'm listening to an audiobook of Thinner at the moment, but I also read a couple of short stories. I was talking about them yesterday on stream, actually. There was The Moving Finger, The Graveyard Shift, and Quitters Inc. These are all short stories he did, so yeah, in a big Stephen King mood. So not so much horror films, but definitely Kevin Sting. Definitely horror stuff. Okay, so we can get this all colored in now. Da 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 da, like that. Okay, so now we have to fix the shading on this animation because it's completely... all the shading is lined up to the other poses, the ones with the eyes opened like that. So, and yeah, we're gonna have to fix that big time. So let's go ahead and unlock that layer and try and make all that shading work for us. Let me see what's being discussed in the chat. Let me see. Which would scare me more, being chased by a shark or a bear? Or a bear shark, of course, is the third option. Honestly, I think a fucking shark, because, you know, I don't want to be in shark infested. I don't want to be in water most of the time anyway. I mean, I swim fine, but just to be in the water, I think would make it more difficult, as I can't move very fast in the water. I think I have, even though I'm fucked either way, I think a bear I'd at least be able to scream at. Maybe, you know, bring my jacket up, yell at him. I feel I might have more grounds to scare away a bear than a shark. I'm gonna die either way, 100%. But bears can move faster than people. Do you know that? Bears, top speed running. Speed for a bear is like 60 miles an hour or something. It's maybe not that high. I think human beings are around 30 miles an hour and bears are something like 40 or 45. Anyway, they're faster than people, bears, and they are strong as hell. You know what I'm scared of, actually, and I was thinking about this earlier today. Chimps. Never want to be left alone with a chimp, or I never want to be anywhere near a chimp, because chimps are motherfuckers. They are 4 times stronger than people, and when they go crazy, and they do go crazy big time, they don't tend to just sort of swat at you. They bite, and they bite fingers, and they bite noses, and they bite genitals, which is just, that is such a triple whammy of parts of my body I don't want to lose. You're basically taking away all of my fun there. If you take away my nose, the looks are ruined. Not particularly good looking to begin with. Looks are ruined when the nose is gone. Not a good look. The fingers, I can't draw. I can't scratch my butt. I can't pick up buffalo wings. So fingers, very bad day if I lose those. And then the testicles too is just adding injury to insult. It's just, that's completely uncalled for. You know, why can't it take my big toe, a chunk out of my calf, you know, and maybe, I don't know, a part of my ear or something. Don't take gonads, face, and fingers. Just fuck off, chimp. So yeah, chimps are the worst, big time. Figment lives... You live in a monkey sanctuary? Oh, you have a monkey sanctuary near you. I was going to say, I always took you for a human being. Well, I mean, I'm okay if they're behind some kind of cage or they're behind bars. I'm not terrified of chimps. I don't have a fear of them, but I wouldn't be comfortable if I was an actor, say, and I had a scene with a chimp. Not down for that one bit, boss. You can keep your chimp scene. We're gonna cut that out of the script and replace it with a scene where Harry sits on the couch and eats a bowl of marshmallows. I know that won't work quite as well in our Tarzan reboot movie, but it's got to happen, I'm afraid. Oh, there's a lot more shading that I have to erase here than I had originally planned on. So let me just go ahead and get rid of all this. Okay, and there we go. And let me just tidy this up a bit. And this will be the frame that we use as reference for the rest of the shading, so that we can kind of all bring it into meeting this place here. Oh, I've got to correct the hand too. Yikes. Hello, yikes department. That hand is a mess. Okay, something like that. Chat, what is up? Harry, kill all the chimps, Partridge. That's me. That's the platform I'm going to campaign to get elected on. Just let's wipe out chimps. You may think that sounds cruel. You may think that sounds unnecessary, but, you know, when they're riding on horseback, blowing trumpets and chasing you through fields with Charlton Heston, you won't think it's so crazy then. When they've got AKs and Tim Burton's making bad films about them, you won't think I'm so crazy. I remember I was in America for the summer of 2001, and there was some bad movies out that year. I went to see at the cinema in America the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes remake, which, you know how that turned out. That was the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes remake. So, not a good film. And also Rat Race, starring John Lovitz and Mr. Bean and a couple other people. Again, not a good film. Just a real bummer couple of films I went to see that summer. And I remember Jay and Silent Bob's movie was out as well, I think, but I didn't see that. I wouldn't have known. I didn't know anything about Jay and Silent Bob. I just remember seeing the poster and thinking, what's that? And that is a movie which, if you've not seen the movies leading up to it, you're going to be a little bit bewildered and a little bit bothered, I think. 2001, I mean, some good movies came out that summer, I'm sure. I just, I didn't see any of them, for sure. Okay, and this hand's nearly shaded in. What are you guys talking about? Is this character you're drawing in favor of Brexit? It's important to know. Definitely want to get hot and heavy into Brexit discussion on this live stream. Thanks, Chris. I don't think this character would have a freaking clue what Brexit was. He would probably assume it's some sort of breakfast biscuit combination. Same as me. That's what I assume it is. Freddy Got Fingered was out, says Jake Escape. Yeah, Freddy Got Fingered, Rat Race, Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. Just 2001 was the summer of cinema. What a crazy time to be alive, and have a pass for your local multiplex. Just nothing but quality, just hitting you from all angles. Although I do remember thinking the lady that played the lead in the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes remake was really hot. Not the lady dressed as a chimp. Not her. That was Helena Bonham Carter dressed as a chimp. She was only semi-hot. I remember the other girl was really... Why am I bringing this up? I don't remember her being in anything else. Blonde lady. Don't remember her ever turning up in another movie. I'm sure she did. I'm sure it's just my ignorance. Okay. Okay, so shading wise, is this... Gosh, I should have just given this to the assistant animators. I thought I'd save them some work, and in doing so, have just ruined this entire live stream. Why is that? Okay, that's gonna be delayed. So. Chat. Oh, still got some shading there that's just stubbornly refusing to disappear. Why can't it just erase itself for my pleasure? Chimp Lady is my new persona. I can't remember her name, but she plays a chimp, Helena Bonham Carter. She does a good job at it too. Geranium says you have to give kudos to the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes for using old techniques to make the apes. Yeah, I mean the apes look really good in it. I think Michael Clark Duncan plays a big tough gorilla guy, and I mean it looks like a real gorilla almost. It's crazy how good that is. All the effects in that movie are great. I think the effects in the film in general are good, and I like Danny Elfman's music for the theme tune. I mean, I didn't remember hating it, but I hadn't seen the original at that point, and I've seen not many Planet of the Apes movies, but I've seen the original. Since then, the original is far better than the Tim Burton one, and the even the whatchamacallit, the Rise of the Planet of the Apes movies, I think, are better than the Tim Burton one by a wide old margin. I've not seen the third one. I've seen the first two, so what I've seen of those I thought were pretty good. Alright, so that eye's shaded in. Is this the last? No, I've got two more frames here that need some work. Come on, you. Do-do-do-do. Alright, so I think there we have it. It's going to work. So let's time this out a little bit better. These are still guide frames that the animators will use to in between and create, you know, the rest of the animation. So I will draw some notes for them. I was going to do that on stream, but we've been going now for 2 hours, so I'm thinking I'll probably wrap it up in a moment and I'll write my notes offline. And so he goes da-da, da-da. Comes back. So he does a big gesture like that. He sort of bounces and comes back to the audience, or his audience. What is going on here with the 4 eyeballs or the 4 pupils? That's not good. It's not good at all. That is a result of the shading being copied and changed. Copied and kept as is, I should say. And we want to get rid of those pupils because they're causing us problems. That's much better. Okay. Neaten that up just a touch there. So yes, so do, and then he swings around, and then this bit is a lot more finished because I just wanted the animators to not have to figure out what I was planning to do there with reusing all those frames. And then he goes up at the end. Okay, so timing wise that's still all way too fast, but every keyframe like this is going to have, you know, 2 or 3 drawings either side of it to smooth it all out. Let me see. Oh yeah, people are telling me to save. Yeah, I should probably say, let's hit save there. And what's going on in the chat? Harry Partridge, mind if I send you a drawing? Mind if I send you a drawing of you on Twitter? No, Mage Burger, go right ahead. Just make sure you capture my Mediterranean coloring, my bald scalp, and my piercings. I saved, guys. You can get off my case now, okay? Alright. So yeah, there we go. Timing wise, it's not quite on the money, but do. So what does he say? I forget. What's the line? The line is something like, he says, "I have other monsters to take care of, you know." Wait, no, he says, "I have other monsters to take care of, you know. I've got the so and so, the so and so, the so and so," and then he carry. Okay, so that's basically where we're at. So gonna get rid of the shading for some reason that's around his eyes there. I don't like that. It's not supposed to be there. And then I'll add in my notes and I'll say to the animators something like, saving again there. I'll say, for example, when we come down here, I probably want 2 drawings here between this drawing and this drawing, so he goes whoosh like that. And maybe between I don't know, do we need some drawings there? I think we do. So yeah, I'll put in like 2 drawings between this one and this one. These ones I think could all go in a line basically, but maybe one, like a smear or something on ones. And then 2 easing out there. And then we're going to drop down here. So just 1 and then 2 drawings to get that back to there. And then I want 2 drawings to get him from this drawing to here. Ooh, that's going to be maybe another 2 drawings. Oh, this is not going to be a fun shot for the animator. It's going to be a pain for whoever has to finish it. 2 drawings to get him from here to here, and then another 2 drawings to get him settled down from here to here. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And then I animated this bit for them. How generous of me to give them all this work to do and then do the tiny little bit and save them, you know, a tiny amount of time. And then I want another 2 drawings from this position down to here, and another 2 drawings from this position all the way up to here. So that's a lot. That's like, you know, a couple dozen drawings maybe, and it has to be shaded, and we have all this detail on the character, all that stuff that has to be colored. Animation, guys, what a pain in the dick. And if you don't have a dick, it'll hurt you somewhere else. It'll hurt your friend's dick like voodoo magic. They'll be sat there going, what is this pain you're causing me? Oh, dickless friend of mine. and you won't have the guts to explain it to them. You'll be too embarrassed that it's all your fault. So, yes, I should make comics. I mean, I am working on some comics at the moment. Mr. Comic Tropes, big plans for comics. Just trying to put together when on earth that'll be. Oh, you guys will hear more about it soon, I promise. Have I seen Joker? I have not seen Joker yet. I would like to see it. I did a little bit of my anticipation for it was dampened by some of the negative feedback. Not negative drama that was going on, but some of the feedback. Some people were really underwhelmed by it, and that made me sounds a little bit like I might be disappointed with it, because I was looking forward to it. But Joyce doesn't want to see it. I don't want to go see it on my own, so I'll see it at some point. But anyway, guys, this is basically the end of the stream. It's going to be me writing notes to actually get this shot ready to give to another animator. So lots of boring, just me saying one in between here. I'll show you what I mean. So, for example, I'll write here. Two in-betweens. Easing out. Okay. And then this one will be one in between. This one will be two in betweens. Easing in. And then we need another one in between. Two in betweens easing in. Two in betweens easing out. Same note. Two in betweens easing in again. Or actually, that should be two straight in betweens. Well, we're doing it anyway. And then two in betweens easing out. And two straight in betweens. So yeah, okay, basically the notes now are already there. I'm gonna add some we have some of these frames that we've included here actually colored, so I'm gonna put those in just basically as reference. So this one's been colored, so we can include that guy. An uncolored version and a colored version, just so they can kind of... What's going on here? So they can help see what's what, you know? Like, for example, you may not know that this grey blob here is a strap on the vest. You may get it confused with another part of his body, but if it's colored, you can kind of see what it is. It helps clear up some of that confusion. So I'll add that in, and... let me see, we had another colored frame that I can include. So there, they have the uncolored version, which is easier to in between, and the colored version, which is good for reference. So yeah, there you go. You get an idea now of the timing that I was going to go for. And that's how it's going to be given to an animator, and that's a lot of work right there. In fact, I may even encourage them to split it into multiples if they want and divide it among themselves, because that's a lot of work, a lot of drawing, and it was a lot of work to get ready for tonight. But that, I think, is it for the stream, guys. Thank you so much to everyone that came by today and looked at my tired face and listened to my tired words and smelt my tired body odor digitally through the interweb. Interweb is such a lame, that's such a 2011 thing to say. God damn it, I'm sorry. Alright guys, I think Figment says she's jealous of how neat my handwriting is. That's a very strange thing to say. I think it looks like a mess, but I appreciate the compliment. All right, guys, thanks so much for coming by. Appreciate you all. I usually list everyone's names individually, but then I always end up ending the stream and then seeing more and more names pop up from people saying goodbye, and I feel guilty that I didn't get to their names in time. So I'm just going to give a big blanket goodbye to everyone. Thank you for coming by. God bless you all. Appreciate your company and your attention and your custom and just coming by. Just appreciate you. All right, guys, take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.